I'm a fully fledged hustler, entrepreneur. I'm not messing about. I call the shots.
You know shit about boxing.
Hi there, this is Danny Flex and welcome to episode 12 of You Don't Know Shit About Boxing, a podcast brought to you by SecondsOut. And as ever, I am joined by my effervescent co-host, Miss Georgia Banks.
That's a new one, isn't it?
I say the same thing every week and I find I need to mix it up a bit.
Effervescent.
Yeah. It wasn't easy to say the first time, I don't want to repeat it.
I was going to say, it's one for me to Google.
I was trying to say philanthropist yesterday about 5 times and I couldn't do it for Bellew Jack. I just couldn't, not sure what, I massacred it.
Next week.
Yeah. This week, predominantly, we're going to be talking about the huge fight on Saturday night between Alexander Usyk and Anthony Joshua, who go at it again in Jeddah, Saudi Arabia. But first of all, we'd like to welcome our very special guest.
But I'm a fully fledged hustler, entrepreneur. I'm not messing about. I call the shots. Is that my intro? Huh?
It is. You call the shots, apparently.
Okay, amazing.
I'm just impressed you didn't trip.
No, I was paying fully attention to that, so I didn't.
Dean Whyte, welcome to Salubrious Potter's Bar.
Welcome, man. We're here at the dungeon.
It's a bit like a dungeon, yeah.
That's all right. That's all good.
How's everything going? You got your show coming up a couple of weeks away.
Yeah, 2 weeks away, 2 weeks on Saturday. Things are really good, very busy. But as I learn this promotion game and the events, what we're putting together, I'm trying to package them so they're less stressful fight week. I'm trying to get myself a lot of the stuff, no backlog, done now, as opposed to fight week where I'm just snowed under. I don't want that feeling, because on the day as well, we're normally very busy on the morning, so that's what I'm trying to escape from this in 2 weeks. So Saturday, I want to get up and move at a way slower pace and not be snowed under. So it's very good though. I love it anyway.
How have you been doing it now?
I think this is gonna be my 5th show. Yeah, it's his 5th show. But yeah, I'm boxing through and through, man. Love it. So I coach the boys, manage the boys, promote them. Obviously, as a collective with the team we've got, but you know, I'm just hands-on with everything. It's funny. I was talking to Steve Goodwin, and he's like, "Why would you want to get into this? How's it going?" I've heard very good stuff about what you're doing. But I said I just love boxing, man. So it's not really work for me. It's my kind of my passion and zest. So it's kind of easy, but it does have its trying and testing moments. So yeah.
September the 3rd in Tolworth. There's a chance we may stream it on SecondsOut. We're in deep negotiations. Dean's a tough negotiator, as you can imagine. But before we talk about the show specifically, I think I want to take you way back. Tell us how you first kind of got into boxing, whether that was through your relationship with Dillian or whether you were a fan first. Talked about fighting, obviously, as well at one point.
Yeah, no, we come from kickboxing anyway. So we came from K1, Muay Thai, kickboxing. Did MMA, bit same, and then had a few white collar boxing. I think I had 2 or 3. I don't even know where their videos are. It would be nice to find them.
You say that now. Yeah. Wait till we see them.
Yeah. They weren't too bad. They weren't the greatest, but just a big old bruiser trying to get them out of there. Way better now, as you know, the experience. So it's just been it's quite funny because with this, Dillian always said, start coaching, so maybe you can do the pads and get in the coaching team. Fuck that shit, man. I was like, and then it's done a 360 and we finally come around and now I'm doing coaching and passing on that experience to my fighters. But my main thing is to try and get them to understand boxing is very, very serious. It's the hurt business. If you're taking any shortcuts, you will get found out. It's very simple. So I do the tough kind of love with this thing. I was sparring with one of my guys the other day. It's kind of brutal session. Do
you not feel like you should hold back a bit though? Because they're making you money essentially.
Well, yeah.
If you chin them, they're off the card.
But no, yeah, it is that. But at the same time, I could see they were not fully in what they was doing. So it's frustrating because I'm saying, I put a lot of time in and effort to come, the time it takes me to drive down, train you guys and do what I'm doing. For you to not give me the 100% is disrespectful. So I said, if you want to understand how boxing is, let me lace my gloves up. We get in and we do a few rounds. Didn't really do a few, to be honest. one was enough. I was quite tired anyway after that. But obviously, we was getting to work. But it worked because they was fighting back. And they brought out that inner demon, and in the rest of the rounds they've done, it was better rounds because Now I'm saying you're using the skills what I'm teaching you as opposed to kidding me just trying to jab and see out kill the round. I don't like that stuff. So I'm saying when you're in there's going to be times where you're going to have to fight. So it was kind of like that. But boxing is a hard place and you learn hard experiences. Sometimes they leave mental scars, you know what I mean? And some people can get over them, some can't get over them. But it's not a place to be messing around, pretending, half-stepping, because if you get hurt and you get knocked out, those are lasting effects, you know, and you've seen it with boxers, you know, what's the word they call them? Punch drunk. You know, they become so it's not a game. So I try to teach them that and I break things down. So you might not be a world beater, but at the same time, if I teach you something and you learn that and you go out there and implement it, people will respect you and say, you know what? He's not the biggest puncher, but can punch, can have a go, seems quite decent, understands how to maneuver around. And that's all I want for someone. We've got all levels of fighters, but I teach them the same principles. So it's pretty cool.
Would you say your style's quite old school then?
Do you know, man? Yeah, pretty much. It's not really nothing. I mainly just jab is key. Distance control is another one. And obviously the defense. But once you're controlling the distance, that's a big part of the defense anyway. Where my hands are situated is I'm always in understanding that distance, using my jab, and then all the other shots come off of that. And that's what I try to make them understand. Some people, some of these guys, they don't understand boxing. When you're boxing, you've got a long jab, you've got a mid-range jab, you've got mid-range fighting, you've got short-range fighting, and you've got long-range. So you got to utilise, depends what that person brings to you, is what you go now download that data and say, all right, this is what I'm going to do. I was kind of talking about, I don't know what I was saying on, but anyway, I was talking about the show in Portsmouth with Isaac Chamberlain. Bournemouth. What did I say?
Portsmouth.
Oh, Portsmouth. Interesting. Okay. That's just
You've already upset people, see? You didn't want to upset anyone, you've upset the whole city of Bournemouth. Yeah, it's all right.
Yeah, they're probably upset.
Town of Bournemouth, I should say.
But yeah, basically, you see, like, his style is, you know, he's a strong, aggressive, kind of bullish. So the style to fight someone like that is probably you'd box on the back foot and take a bit of wind out of that cell and give them angles and not, you know, try and have a shootout because that's what they're looking for. So that was, I was explaining, you know, to someone, especially to kind of keep slipping, moving your head and kind of, he's a big, strong lad. So when he was kind of tying up with Isaac, you could see the size difference and see the strength. So it was a prime example to kind of break down to the guys. It's easier said than done, but I'm saying it's about discipline. That is a very big fundamental factor. What some people throw out the window. As soon as round, you know, like you got a game plan, they say until you get punched in the face. But those kind of guys who can stick to a game plan and are disciplined are normally the ones that will succeed and go a little bit further. If you're the Duke Hazard that just wants to go out there and have a shootout from round one, it's probably not going to end well. You know what I'm saying? So I try and break that into the guys. So I always, you know, distance control, pouring them, using my jab, a little bit of feints and step off, and I just ping them up until they're tired, and then when they're tired, that's when I come forward. Because now I'm in control of what I'm doing. I don't fight fire with fire. That doesn't make no sense. So I try to break that down to you guys. When boxing starts, when it goes ding ding, that first round, everyone has the same energy. Even a journeyman, he has the same energy to have a good tear up and swing for best part of what, maybe a minute, a couple rounds. But I'm saying you got to take that wind out of their cell and be, you know, smart and strategic in what you're doing. So that's what I always kind of, you know, put into them.
You grew up with Dillian, of course.
Yep.
As times have gone on, he's become super famous, heavyweight contender. You've made your own strides in boxing. How has your relationship evolved?
No, well, it's the same. He's to be honest, I was talking about this to someone. He's actually the same person. Wanker.
There's the headline.
No, I'm joking. No, Dill's just Dill. Dill, he hasn't changed. I don't think money or anything's changed him. He is exactly the same. He's pretty mean most times, but I give him exactly what he deserves. So, you know, it's quite funny.
Is that the key to your relationship, that you're similar? Exactly.
I think, and on top of it, I think I will try to ground him as well in terms of, you know, big brother. I just tell him as it is. I don't sugarcoat shit for him. And, I will just try to explain as the journey grows, you get people that come around and whatever, but you're always only going to get the honest truth. And for me, I can fight myself, so I'm not scared of you. So, you know, if you don't like it, we can always fight. And we always get to that. And that's how we fight all the time.
You sparred a lot?
Well, hell yeah. He's too strong now, man. The guy,
It's like when you get to
nah, this guy, he's away. But it's been all right, though. We've been... do you know what? To be honest, on Christmas, you know, we always used to go out, run, and then eat. Every Christmas used to train, running, and then to be honest, he's been very kind of disciplined for a very long time in that aspect. But like I said, he's virtually the same. He just lives, sleeps, and you know, dreams the boxing and you know, after the fight, obviously, he was all devastated from the loss because I felt like there was still a lot more. I felt the plan was going the way it was going correct. I felt like, you know, boxing's about it's chess moves, offsetting what I was saying. He was doing good with the distance control, but he came out southpaw, and I think that threw Tyson off. Even in the corner, I think Tyson went, that motherfucker southpaw. The hell? I don't even, you know, like confused, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, who was telling me, what's the trainer's name again?
Sugar Hill.
Yeah, so he said, yeah, that was quite a, you know, good move because it did kind of throw us off because we was kind of like, motherfucker, okay, yeah, now we gotta think. Because, you know, normally we're the ones that are making people think. We've got to think, okay, he's southpaw. And then the next round he went back to orthodox and carrying on switching and doing stuff. I felt like the body work started to work fourth, fifth, sixth was good. And then obviously he got caught. But I think the wrestling in between was the bit that was trained. You know, I think it trained both guys because, you know, being big guys wrestling is a big part of boxing, but it takes so much energy out of you. And then I think, you know, the rest is as we saw. But we was quite, you know, devastating. But what our staple was, and I remember I was saying, you know, from where we come from, fighting in front of 95,000 people, whatever it was, or 97, we never could have imagined being there. And I remember, I think it was, about third or fourth fight. Could have been second or fourth anyway. He was in Hull. And he fought down there. It's quite mad. Like I said, we always fight. So we was fighting before the fight.
Right.
Like me and him. And then after that, I was...
As in sparring or
no, just fighting. Just had a mad fight in the hotel. Just like, you know, bashed up the hotel, hole in the wall head. Like,
what was it about? Do you remember?
We'll be just talking normal. And then it just goes into left. And then his advice match, they always just said, like, listen, please, no fighting before the fights, guys. You know what I mean? Because as it goes up, it's more risk. But it's ego, innit? So, but anyway, we had a little thing, and then after, we had the fight, and then he was like, we still got a fight, you remember it? I was like, okay, let's go and get some chicken anyway around the corner first before the fights. And then we walked out and we saw some guys and they was like, oh, you two are big old bloody units. What are you guys doing in Hull? This is a shit. Oh, no one comes in. And then I said, yeah, this is my bro.
That's Hull, Bournemouth.
Oh, shit. But it wasn't me. He said that. The guy said that. That was his words. So I was like, yes, my bro, Dillian Whyte, man, the next champ. Watch out for him. And he went, never heard of him. And then he just walked off. I was like, fuck, you know. I was like, don't worry, bro, don't worry. That guy's, they're going to know soon. So I always use that as a reminder. He fought in this place and, do you know what fucking it was? Sofolowski.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that's who it was. It's all, you know, that come. It's the whole lifetime ago. I can't remember. But it was that guy. I'm sure it was
Sofolowski, yeah.
That was his first defeat. So that must have been about between 1 and 4, I think I do for him. And it was then and it was always something that stuck in me, and I always say that to him, to be grounded somewhere. To remember there was a time when no one knew you, no one cared, no one knew myself and whatever. And it was one of those ones where, you know, you got to kind of remember these times. Because when boxing's gone, there'll be a new you and you'll fade off and, you know, you'll probably still be remembered somewhat, but you got to enjoy these moments. Win, lose or draw, you got to embrace them and say, you know what, history was made. It might be the wrong side of history, but it was made to a degree, and it's part of it. And it's only one fight. You got paid a hell of a lot of money and you live to fight on another day. So there's always kind of like things in there what you can take out, and that's something that stand out. And I'll always use that as an example, even with fans when, like, you know, sometimes he gets frustrated a little bit, you know, like he just wants to fight. He doesn't really like all the media stuff, if you notice it. Yeah, he don't like all that. He don't like this and loads of stuff. So sometimes he'll be just like, listen, I'm not interested. I have stuff to say to him. Look, you know, we got to remember these people in the times. And then he's like, yeah, no, I definitely do, but, I'm tired. When I'm tired, I got to remember me.
And hungry.
Yeah, so he gets to that. But it's just kind of like fascinating, the whole thing. And that was kind of a surreal moment being in there. I know we took heart in, obviously, Sugar Hill, Fury coming to me. It was just like, you know what? It was a very interesting fight, and Dillian's a lot smarter than we gave him credit for. We just thought it was a bruiser that didn't think, and so bittersweet though. You know what I mean? But
how much older than Dillian are you?
I am 44.
You are.
And what's Dillian now?
34.
You're 10 years older.
I feel like I've gone into shock. You're
Yeah.
44.
Well, yeah, it was 44.
Because I always used to think Dillian was older until you started saying like big bro and all that. I used to think you were the younger one.
Yeah, so yeah, no.
Sorry, Dillian.
But everyone says that his line would be, I've had a harder life. I do the fighting. That's what he always says.
It's a fair point.
You know, I shouted at him the first time I met him.
Is it? Why? Where?
It was at work. He came with Richard Riakpo and 2 other like management-y guys.
Yeah.
And he was late. And he was stood right outside the studios, and he was meant to be on air at 11. And I'm just like, we've got 6 minutes to get him in makeup and get him on air. And he's just standing around doing
Me a cop?
nish.
Oh, joking.
And I've gone out. I was like, Dillian, nice to meet you. Inside, come inside. And I got him in, got him registered, got him through the gates, and he's like, oh, forgot the belt. Turned around, went down the stairs to go get it. I was like, no. You're coming with me. These 2, whoever they were, they're not doing anything. They can go back to your car. Because that's going to be another 10 to 15 minutes. And my job is on the line. I don't have time for this. Got him into makeup. He then sat on, while we were waiting for Richard's makeup, he sat, like the metal filing cabinets. He sat on one, but it wasn't level, and he fell off. And kind of like just stumbled. It was only me that saw, so we were just looking at each other like... But yeah, he got shouted at that day. He kind of, he looked at me as if to say, who is this tiny woman telling me what to do? And then he was like, oh, actually, yeah, you're right. Okay, yeah, I'm coming. So, yeah, that was...
Fight fire with fire.
Yeah.
You've both done that with Dillian Whyte, it seems. Maybe that's what I should try. I'm not going to, but...
He might fix you.
Yeah, exactly.
He got on air in time, which was the main goal.
Before we move on, what would you favour kind of next for him? There's been talk about a Dubois fight, which we've spoken about. There's talk about a third Chisora fight as well. What would you like to see him do?
I think, like now, he's in the tail end of his career in terms of maybe, I don't know, another handful of fights potentially. There's loads of fights for all these boys. I feel like Dubois makes sense, business sense, financially. I don't know if the money is there in the pot to do that, but the WB regular title's there. You win that, you're back in the top, you're world champion again, regular world champion, and then you're in those kind of arguments. This weekend we have a great fight. The loser of that is an option, which is a huge fight again. And then you've still got Andy Ruiz versus Ortiz on September the 4th. That's a decent fight, dangerous fight as well. Deontay Wilder is a good fight as well, but he said he ain't fighting Dillian at any time. So I don't know, but that's like a handful of fights which are potentially good pay-per-view sales. I know Sky are talking about the Parker fight. It's a good fight, but I don't think it's, because it's been done already. I don't know if it's that intriguing, because those ones, the rematch with AJ, big business, win, lose your draw, UK, London boys, that will sell. Everyone wants to see that anyway. So that's a great fight. Wilder, great fight. Andy Ruiz, because he beat Joshua, it's a great fight. Because fans like, people are like, oh shit, or the winner, any one of them. They're both still half decent because he's former champion, whatever. So that's 4 fights that are really decent fights, but will do good numbers. And it's the transatlantic, most of them.
Joe Joyce?
Potentially.
I think that's as big as, if not bigger than Dubois.
I think it's a harder
if he
fight
beats
anyway,
Parker,
because he's got a hell of a chin. But the only thing is, Dillian punches harder than most of the guys he's faced. I've seen with the Brian Jennings fight, he got hurt to the body. Just like the man fighting Weekend, they don't like body shots, those guys. He's open, he gets hit to the head a lot too much for me, Joe Joyce. He's a big, strong chap though, big, strong chap. Got a hell of a tank. Yeah, so it's definitely a good fight. That's definitely a fight that's there, but it's got to make sense because he's big, tough, strong, and fit. So when you're weighing up what it is, there's not I don't know if the money tallies up because the press conference ain't going to be the best press conference. So
it won't be with the Y either, trust me.
Yeah, as well. But you got to remember, he's got a belt.
And he's got more vulnerabilities that have been shown as well.
As well. So, you know, if you're playing your smart card, you'd look at that. But I don't know, Dillian's, I'm sure he's open and looking at whatever they're looking at. But those are definitely names that, you know, they're thinking of. He's been more than vocal about them already. So I just hope his fight doesn't drop in any my vacation times. You know what I mean? That's what I said to him, when you fighting? And he's like, well, I said, well, I'm going away soon. He said, that's nothing to do with me. I said, I didn't say it was. So,
you didn't fight, did you?
No, it was a video call. But we do get to that. So he always goes, so come here and fight me then. I'm like, my friend, I'm busy. I've got no time to come there and fight you.
Well, talking of being busy, September the 3rd, Tolworth, that's your next show. Yeah. You've been making great strides getting people talking about you said Steve Goodwin earlier, because you're trying different things on the show. What can people expect on September the 3rd that perhaps they don't see at other shows?
You know what, I think, I don't know, it's just the atmosphere is different. Obviously, you know, we are kind of more cultural aspect. The demographic is more, you know, it is boxing. The culture of London's more prone in the music's different. We've got the people at the back with the jerk pans doing, it's like the carnival, it's a whole event, it's just mad. And the production, even the production on this show, we've gone up a level again. So hopefully if all works out, you'll see. And then you'll be like, whoa, okay, goddamn. You know, really trying to push the ball out. But yeah, we're working on some things, man, some real good stuff, man. We've got some good boys on as well, so it's just interesting, you know, like the timing. I think it's really picking up now. I think because of just the cost of living, everything's been a bit slow. But now, the last couple of weeks, I think for me, a lot of my people are like now purchasing tickets and whatever. And I think most people, even if it is cost of, they're partying anyway. There's been so much parties going, so people are, you know, instead of buying from like 6 or 8 weeks ago, they've literally leave it to the last few weeks, last minute, and do that. I've found that, to be honest, in the past. But I think we're going to have some real good fights. We've signed some good boys recently. We signed that Bellew Fuaz. Yeah, he's pretty good. Decent amateur, was
formerly Kelvin, top GB amateur. Great backstory as well.
He's done all right. He's done in the ABAs in 3 different weight classes. Crazy. He's definitely a character in the the backstory, as you said, you know, is unique and good. So I think he just wants a bit of momentum. So we got that done a few weeks ago, and then we managed to wrangle a spot for him. Because to be honest, it's difficult to promote him, because I think I normally have backup people. You know, like when I announce the shows, it's full. I've already made, but I think I've changed it, to be honest, because I think about 7 or 8 people have dropped out, and I've changed those people. And even up to the last week, it still might change again, because someone might drop out, and then I think I'm signing someone else in the next couple of days. So he might get on. So boxing is crazy how he just swings around. But he'll be lucky if he does 2 weeks, got signed, and then he's out.
Are you allowed to tell us who it is?
Not really, not yet. We'll get it done, because you know what it is? I've done that as well, you know, a couple of times. I've virtually had the deal done, signing, and then they've done a runner. So it's kind of weird when you do that and you give them kind of a platform and talk about them, and then it kind of goes a different. Yeah, it's not really good business. Not for me anyway.
This episode's top topic is obviously Usyk Joshua 2 out in Saudi Arabia. Dean, I was going to ask how much you're looking forward to it, but you told us off camera you're actually going to a festival on Saturday. Are you going to get the chance to watch it afterwards?
I think it starts at 10:30, right?
Yeah, the main event, yeah. Yeah,
so I won't watch the undercard. I weren't really interested in the undercard. Callum Smith maybe, like those boys. So maybe Ben Whitaker's on there now. So that would have been a good fight. But literally, yeah, I'll probably the festival finished about 9:30. So I think I'll just get back just for the main event.
You'll be in a good mood, I imagine.
Yeah, I'll be well merry. So I think there's literally a pub right there anyway. So I think in the morning I'll go into that pub and talk to them and see if they're showing the fight. So if they are, that's literally across the road from the festival. So,
if you're asking, they'll be showing.
Yeah, I'm gonna walk in there and see what's going on. So that'd be cool. So I definitely will be watching it somehow, some way. Not gonna miss it, but yeah.
We'll talk more about the fight in a minute, but we want to go over to lean Josh Green in the green room. He's talking about the best wins so far, or the most notable results so far, rather, on the records of both Joshua and Usyk in the build-up to the big rematch.
Hello and welcome back to the green room. I'm Josh Green, and Danny Flexen's given me the task of naming the top 3 opponents for both Anthony Joshua and Alexander Usyk ahead of their rematch in Saudi Arabia this weekend. We'll start with Mr. Alexander Usyk, who obviously started in the cruiserweight division. I've got 2 opponents to pick up from that division, that being Maris Bradis and Michael Hunter. Michael Hunter now, of course, moved up to heavyweight. We're hoping to see the rescheduled bout between him and Hughie Fury a little later in the year. It's obviously cancelled up in Manchester, would be, a couple of months ago. A tough fight early on in the career of Alexander Usyk, and one he came through with flying colours. Now, Maris Bradis is another very tough fight. Obviously, we saw Bradis beat over in Australia a few weeks ago now, but back then Bradis really was a star in the making, as was Usyk. We didn't know really what could be achieved for both of them, but Usyk now obviously going up, moving on to heavyweight, achieved everything that he could have achieved in the cruiserweight division. It looks like an absolutely superb win on his record. And finally, Tony Bellew, a fight that was huge up in the northwest, and really the signature fight of Tony Bellew's career, and you may even say the signature fight of Alexander Usyk's career. Bellew started well. Alexander Usyk, a slow starter, especially back in those days. What was it, 3 years ago now? But he got the job done. He got the 8th round KO, and he moved on to bigger and better things in the shape of heavyweight competition and the likes of Anthony Joshua, who we'll see this weekend. Moving on to Anthony Joshua and the opponents that he's had to blast his way through over the years, and we'll start with Dillian Whyte back in 2015, believe it or not, some 7 years ago since we saw Dillian Whyte and Anthony Joshua share the ring, and still a fight that people may want to see a rematch of in years to come. Obviously, both coming towards the end of their careers, you would have to say, at the top maybe, but still a fight that would garner huge amounts of attention and fill out a stadium, maybe even a Wembley or a Tottenham outdoor arena as well. But back then, he was 25 years old. We didn't know quite what we knew. We knew he had a star on our hands, but we didn't know quite what Anthony Joshua could achieve. But that win against Dillian Whyte signalled that he was here to stay. Moving on, you could say the likes of Joseph Parker or Carlos Takam, but Vladimir Klitschko was really the toughest opponent you would have to say he's faced in his career. He faced an ageing Vladimir Klitschko, much like Tyson Fury did, but it was really the coming out party for Anthony Joshua, the moment where we thought, we've got a real star on our hands, and this guy is going to become one of the greatest heavyweights that British boxing has ever seen. And the final name I'd like to put to you is Andy Ruiz, of course, one of the two losses on Anthony Joshua's career. Went in there as a heavy favourite and came out as the loser on the first occasion. Did beat Andy Ruiz second time around, but you cannot ignore such a fantastic result for Ruiz. So they're the 3 names, I would say. Dillian Whyte, Vladimir Klitschko and Andy Ruiz, the 3 toughest names that Anthony Joshua has faced. And for Alexander Usyk, plenty of tough names on his resume as well. We'll see how it goes this weekend as to if Anthony Joshua can get the W and get back on the road to becoming an undisputed world champion at heavyweight, or whether Alexander Usyk will continue his unbeaten streak. Back to you guys.
Cheers, Josh. Always a pleasure. You need to make your bed. We were all saying off camera, including Dean was the most scathing. He said, "What's up with that bed, mate? Come on." Put some effort in.
Fuck's sake, mate.
George also gave us some revelations about bed making that we will not be talking about on the podcast. But
Thanks for that.
yeah, if anyone wants to DM her and ask her about that story, you're more than
DM
welcome.
me.
About anything.
Ever.
Please, Liam.
Or is it at Georgia Lily, is it?
No.
Something like that. Anyway, getting back to Saudi, let's get a bit political for a second. Let's get a bit serious. There's been a lot of criticism about fights being in Saudi. This is just the latest big fight in that region, predominantly about the Saudi regime using big events like this. And it's not just sport, there's kind of been big concerts and stuff there as well, to kind of mask or mitigate some of the human rights issues in the country. Now, we're a boxing podcast, not a political one, but we should mention it. What do you make of that criticism? Because they've gone where the most money is. It's hard to blame boxers for doing that.
Listen, man, they are in boxing for money. There is a legacy aspect also, but most of them, you know, that legacy, if you look at past boxers, some of them have no money. So, you know, predominantly it's business, so it's commerce. So you got to understand, and rightly so, you know, you get baseball players, American footballers, they make a hell of a lot of money. Footballers make a lot of money. So I think boxers should be paid because they're getting some real damage in there. So, you know what I mean? But like you said, I'm not into the political aspect of stuff. I keep, you know, my stuff to my stuff, and because most people might not like my idea about
I mean, the flip side to the argument is that by having the big events there, the eyes of the world are on that region, and maybe that will help accelerate change. I don't know how true that is.
For a week.
Yeah, but then something like Ramla Ali fighting on the undercard, it's the first female fight in Saudi Arabia. Would that happen if there wasn't such a big show going there? I don't know.
No.
Probably not. What's your view, Georgia? The only female on this panel.
It's a difficult one because I think media organisations are very they're hypocrites for going there, because you get something like Live Golf, everybody's up in arms, all media are up in arms about golfers taking more money and going for a Saudi-led golfing tournament.
Sure.
They're being, you know, not allowed to play in the PGA anymore, things like that. When it comes to boxing, all that goes out the window, and you kind of have to play a role as a media and organisation to keep your staff safe, to keep the women that you're sending there safe. I know things from last time where you weren't allowed to take your own phone. That you had, I think you got given a work phone, but you weren't allowed to take your phone. You weren't allowed to go on the internet on that phone.
What's that?
Because it's so dangerous.
What do you mean? I'm confused. You've lost me now. In Saudi?
Yeah.
But I was in Saudi. Yeah, I was in Saudi. I was with my missus in Saudi. But obviously, maybe that was different because we was with Khaled. And he was just like, oh, yeah, you know, you guys, you can do anything you want. You're my guests, you know, like.
Yeah.
So, because we was kind of saying, does she need to cover up and stuff? And he was like, no, not at all. And it was like, maybe because of the event, he said, I think they know, like you said, because it's for a duration, they know that, you know, there's a lot of foreigners we're bringing.
They're going to be westernised, if
exactly.
you like,
for that. But I think that's what they want to do. Sorry to cut you. I have heard they want to kind of go into more events and entertainment and be somewhat like Dubai to a degree and make, you know, money outside of how they make money.
As a place, especially with some of my friends and colleagues that will go over there that are part of the LGBTQ plus community, it could not come back quite easily, would never come back. And that's a very, very scary and very, very real thought that I think in boxing, you put a bit of money on the table, all those things go out the window.
Were you relieved not to have been asked to go this time?
Not relieved. Would I have gone given the chance? Yeah, probably. I think it's an amazing opportunity, but at the same time, there's a lot of things I don't agree with that morally don't align with how I am as a person.
Would you like to see the people involved in the event, whether it's the boxers, the promoter, trainers, whatever, shine more of a light on those sort of things while they're there? Because they're there up close, they've got a platform.
No, it's not safe to.
Okay.
You have to be very, very careful what you say, how you say it, who you say it to. It is a difficult one, but I know there's an obscene amount of money that are thrown at people, and at the end of the day, you've got bills to pay, you've got families to look after, and that's what people are going to go for. But I do think media outlets are very, what's the word? What's the other word for hypocrite here?
Inconsistent?
Yes, there we go.
That do?
Yeah.
Well, let me just kind of add on to what you're saying. You know, like, because this is boxing, there is an outlet for what like there are outlets for people to talk on a platform if they want to discuss certain matters, if it was, you know, like, so if there's, you know, there's always a spokesperson for many things. Like you say, because of the money, people ain't rocking the boat. And
That's what it is. Because someone like Eddie Hearn wouldn't feel fear for his safety if he said something necessarily.
yeah, but he's not going to rock the boat and mess up the business. A lot of people, sometimes there's a word we use in the Caribbean, play fool to catch wise. Sometimes you just gotta zip up. You might not agree with certain things. Maybe in your close confidence you'll talk about it, but then you think, well, if I dared to mention something, I will not be at this table eating this fine delicacy anymore. And so you gotta bear it. It's either you wanna be the spokesperson to talk up but not get paid, or not be at this table anymore, or you say, I'll give you my information, you've got nothing to lose, you're the spokesperson, be my voice as well. Yeah. And that's how you really got to maneuver. I do that sometimes with loads of people. I just keep my table kind of as tidy as I can, because sometimes you don't want to offset it, so you got to be...
Yeah, and especially as where women are concerned, it's only been legal to drive the past, 2, 3 years?
I didn't want to say, I was going to say they're mad, but
they are bad drivers though. I'm kidding, I swear, honestly. Don't cancel me.
Moving forward now.
I'm joking, I don't even drive, I haven't driven for years, so...
Well, there we go.
I just couldn't resist. You said about play forward to catch wires. I remember Johnny Nelson saying that, but he didn't get it from the Caribbean, he got it from Brendan Ingle. It just shows you, doesn't it?
He probably got it from some other Caribbean.
yeah, exactly, yeah. Talking about kind of things in the background of this event, and we can argue about whether that should or shouldn't be in the background or remain in the background. Tyson Fury is someone that's been talked about a lot recently. He's done his latest retirement. I'm not sure how many we're up to now.
Is it maybe 3?
3, 4, yeah. Do you think we'll see him back in a proper fight?
Hell yeah. If anyone who listens to what he's saying, they're as mad as him. But listen, he's a fascinating character, hell of a boxer, had a hell of a career, but he does some half strange things. You know, one minute he's got a new coach and his cousin or whatever, he's, you know, what's the short fella's name?
Shane?
No, his cousin.
Oh, the other cousin.
No, whatever his name is. The coach cousin, you know what? His family member, whatever that kid is.
Yeah, I can't remember his
name. The one that
lost,
Isaac Lowe. There you go.
You're like,
I see what
you mean.
Yeah, he said his coach.
Sorry, he's got so many cousins, but
he said he's, what did he say? This is my new coach.
Oh yeah, I saw that.
The day after, he retired. And then he said, I want half a million is it?
Half a billion
to fight. Then he said, I'm going to fight Derek Chisora. So there's about 5 different things in probably about a 48-hour window. And then in the end, he drives off into the sunset, relinquishes the lineal title. Then he's in a Ferrari saying, I'm enjoying retirement. And then the day after retirement, he's actually in a video saying, you're an idiot, Derek, you should have fought me, let's fight, sign the contract. I'm like, huh? Are you retired or I don't? But look, it's show business, man. People are intrigued and they like it. I just feel like, I don't mind the banter bit, but it's just, we need to know where you are and what you're doing. But he's going to come back, man. There's too much money. I think he's just waiting for the winner of this, and then he's going to probably come back and say, hey, guess what? I was lying, guys. I'm back. I'm going to smack.
Does Joshua winning make it more likely that he comes back than if Usyk wins? A, because he might perceive it as an easier fight, but B, because it's an all-British super fight.
Absolutely. But then he might, what do you say, that he's going to smash the super little middleweight, or what do you call it?
Middleweight.
That's it. So I don't know. He looks quite big though. Usyk.
He's got a lot of size,
Looks big.
Yeah.
All right, well, when we come back, Dean will be quizzing Dean on who's going to win the Joshua Usyk or Usyk Joshua rematch, and why and what Joshua needs to do to have the best chance as well, because we've talked about that before, the tactics. But before that, we want to hear from both camps. We're going to look at some recent interviews from Robert Garcia, a new addition to Team Joshua, and Alex Krasuk, who's the long-time promoter of Alexander Usyk.
I think, you know, if everything goes well, AJ will be my 15, and that's great. You know, my first super heavyweight champion of the world. That's unbelievable. You know, alongside with Angel for the work that he's doing, the passion that he has for the sport. You know, he's young and he wants to one day be mentioned among the best trainers in the world, and he's on his way to get there. You know, with the fighters that he has, I have no doubt that he will be there.
Dream team?
Yeah, 100%.
You mentioned earlier that Usyk had visited hospitals, soldiers, obviously on the front line, and they'd all encouraged him to fight Joshua because he could use his platform for a greater good in that way. Will this give him extra motivation? I mean, he's always been motivated, but will this be an extra incentive for him to get the job done?
I'm pretty sure it will. Because, you know, the hearts of the whole nation will be with him, will be supporting him in this very, very important fight for the whole country. Ukraine needs a victory. Whatever victory it is, it's the motivation for the whole nation. So I think that's be and not just an extra, but it's going to be a huge incentive for him to win and to devote this victory for his name, for his homeland.
Ukraine needs a victory, but on a lesser scale, on an individual scale, Joshua really needs a victory to keep his career going, to be the major attraction that he is. Dean, how does he do it?
Boy, it's a tall order. I'm not gonna lie. I felt like he boxed okay the last time. He made a few mistakes. You know, most trainers would tell you if you're boxing a southpaw, your foot should be more aligned to their foot on the outside. Because basically, if your foot's in the middle of their body, when they're throwing their straight left, your head's on target. That's why Joshua got caught quite a lot of time. So his foot position was kind of off. I'm hoping that maybe they've looked at that and made an adjustment for that.
So that's kind of what happened to Bellew in their fight, wasn't it? He was kind of caught square by that southpaw left.
Yeah, but that's because it is, you know, after you get tired, when you get tired, you lose your shape and you do tend to forget. But this is where it comes down to discipline. When you look at the real elite boys like Mayweather, Andre Ward, those guys kept their discipline throughout their fights. A lot of the time, that's why they remained undefeated, you know. And but coming back to these guys, obviously a heavyweight's different pace. They're punching harder, they're stronger. Obviously Joshua fatigues a little bit more. It's just different. So when you're tired, you start to kind of, you know, you get caught with other shots maybe you wouldn't necessarily. I feel like as I've looked a lot more into Usyk, watched a few of their fights, Joshua hurt him to the body in there and then he got on his toes and went. I think that's probably going to be more of a key for Joshua to start doing that, because having watched a few of his amateur fights again recently, he's in a lot of them fights where he was getting hurt, it was to the body. A better BF and the other kid that, you know, dropped him to the body. So I think that's definitely a home run. And seeing it in that fight, Joshua hurt him and then he got on his toes and started to use his feet. I feel like Joshua's got to track him a bit better. Not follow him, cut the ring properly, you know what I mean? But cut him, but be at a safe distance so you don't just walk onto a shot. It's very important understanding that distance, not too close to smother your work, have the right distance so you can't get countered and whatever. So I feel like there's many different things that are gonna play a factor, but then Joshua having to fight more he's not the most aggressive, but you could have educated aggression and being smart. But I think when he's in the clinches, he needs to be a lot more aggressive instead of just tying up and waiting for the ref to break. I think what Derek was doing was punching the hips and then kind of punching. He's not Derek, but he needs to mean those kind of stuff. When Dillian fought Parker, Dillian was using his forearm in his neck, pushing him and unsettling Parker, which threw him off his game plan. And I think that's what you want to do with Usyk. So if he throws him off his game plan, he might want to fight a little bit. And then because he's not thinking with an educated, smart mindset, he's thinking more on emotion, you'll make mistakes. And that's how you might catch him. So it'll be interesting.
Now, cards on the table. Georgia, we're going to start with you, just on a clockwise motion. Who you backing and how?
I think Usyk will get knockout. I would love to see AJ bring his belts home. I really, really would. I just don't see it.
What sort of round or period of the fight?
Oh,
Not an exact round, but like, you know, a bunch of rounds. Round 7.
Yeah.
All right, lucky 7. Unlucky 7 for Joshua. Dean, what are you saying?
I'm going to say Usyk looks very, very confident. I don't know if Joshua looked nervous. I didn't see major confidence, assuredness, but maybe he just thinks, I don't need to do anything. My talk is going to be done in the ring. I could hear that. I felt like he should have took a bit more control in the press conference somewhat. Do
you think he's just trying to block out all the noise?
Maybe, but listen, he should have pushed that kid off the stage. Shut up, forget all that singing, get back there, you idiot. No, I don't know, something. That press conference was really dry though, to be honest. It was like, you know, it was really dry, there was nothing in it. And then he just stole the show by singing. I know they're talking about, this is a long, drawn-out version of who I'm coming to. I still have to
you'll get there.
But basically, you know, there's little margins of things that kind of push towards that confidence barrier. Little things, the face-off, you know. This is what a lot of people read into. Joshua kind of turned a little bit early. The singing on the stage, the confidence, him, you know, going off. I don't know. Even as little as someone mentioned about Joshua talking about his sparring partners, and then he decided to have the last say and say, oh yes, and mine's too, good, yes. You know, like little mind games, always having the last say. And even in the fight, a lot of smart boxers do the same thing in the last 10 seconds of the rounds. They have the last say, which leaves the impression in the judge's mind. It's all mind games. This is chess. The guy was fucking fiddling around with maths going, I don't know what's going on. I don't know what was going on.
Dean was doing some hand gesture there. That's all I can tell you.
Did you watch the press conference? What he was doing? He said he was doing something. The guy is definitely up to something. He looks menacing as fuck, sorry to say. He looks strong, big, but I'm going to go with my homeboy AJ, you know.
Oh my God. Yeah. After all that, you're picking Joshua. I'm amazed.
Yeah. I know, I really would love to see him.
I feel, listen, it's going to be a knockout, 100%. This ain't going the distance. That is a fact. I want Joshua to win. I'm going to be, you know, putting the right energy and positivity out there so we can bring this back home. And it's good for boxing and, you know, the British culture of, you know, and I think for boxing it's better. Sorry to say that, you know, I'm a fan of what he does, but I mean, he's a different cat. We're not from the same culture. Everything's totally different. He does have a lot riding for him. The country, as they say, is behind him. And we understand and we sympathise with them. And that's a big thing, having a whole country behind you saying, I'm fighting for this. It's madness. There's no competition in, you know, that factor. But, yeah, that guy looks menacing. He looks evil, man.
So Joshua knockout.
I think it's gonna be an absolute barnstorm. I think they're gonna have a shootout. But you heard the guy? He swam for 5 hours, stayed underwater for 4.5 minutes. Read 100 whatever in the blistering sun.
I feel like you shouldn't be doing that like a few days before you fight, to be honest.
But no, he's just a cyborg. That's what the guy said. He's trying to give. What he's trying to do is put the fear of God into you to make you understand this is not a normal man you're fighting, and it's understandable and it's true. He dominated as an amateur. He dominated cruiserweight, and now he's coming and dominated heavyweights. We need this sucker out of there like baseball. Bow out of there. Sorry, I want Joshua to win, and that's my thing. There is other factors I could talk about, and I could see many factors for both guys to win, but I'm going to be rolling with Joshua, man.
I'm going for Usyk.
Man, you a sucker, man.
I'm a traitor. Roundabout round.
Both of you guys in pink.
the pink traitors.
We don't plan that, by the way.
Yeah.
Just
never.
let you guys know.
Roundabout round 10, I reckon. I think Joshua will be more aggressive. He'll put on more educated pressure, but I think that also puts him more into the danger zone. And I think that type of fight where you're like a front foot counter puncher, I don't think he's got fast enough feet, and I don't think he's got fast enough head movement to compete with Usyk on that level. I just think Usyk's a bit too smart, a bit too quick in his brain and in his feet and his hands. And I think Joshua walks into trouble once he's tired, and as Dean was saying, you know, goes back to his shape, or loses his shape rather, and goes back to what he's used to. I think that's the point when he's at his most dangerous, and I think he probably gets stopped around maybe the 10th.
I don't want to see him stopped though.
No, neither do I, but I just, if I have to predict, if I was putting money on it, which I'm not, but if I was.
I just think there's a big difference between Usyk losing and AJ losing again, and I'm not sure how You know what, like, boxing fans like, they're quite fickle, and I don't know how AJ would build himself back up if he lost this fight again. So he's got a lot of pressure on him. What do our fans think, our viewers? Let's find out. George has got the, or will have in a minute, the poll results. Yeah, talk amongst yourselves for a minute. Here we go. Yeah, drum roll, please. So I asked who wins and how. Usyk points, Usyk KO. AJ points, AJ KO. 23% went with Usyk points. 58% went with Usyk KO. Nobody went for AJ points, and 19% went AJ KO.
Damn, suckers.
Yeah.
So what's that a total for Usyk of, like, I don't know, 75% or something, isn't it?
81.
Wow. So 4/5.
Landslide. Man, UK sucks.
Well, yeah, don't get behind your boy. It's because it's anonymous. People feel like they can just say their true feelings. It's all good.
You don't blame them. Look, because he lost the first one, you know, it's always harder uphill the second one. Both guys know each other. Both guys, this guy said, I've been studying AJ for 10 years. This guy he's a serious mathematical person. Listen, this guy is something else, you know, but he's only human. And I feel if AJ can get to that body, and he's going to take punishment on the way, if he can take that and get to that body enough, I feel they'll be able to take a little bit of a, you know, chink out of him, but
slow him down
some. But he like I said, he's seen it, always done it. Even with those fights where he's been hurt, he's come back sometimes, you know. So yeah, but like you said, he is a bit faster, but with that excess weight, he might not be as fast. And maybe he's probably thinking, you know what, only thing was missing was probably a bit more strength. So I've got a little bit of speed on him. If I can keep my speed and put on more strength, I can be able to tussle with him and do more damage. But it might slow him down. We'll see. Only a matter of days now.
Yeah, Dean, you've had the softball questions from us, but it's about to get a lot harder for you as my phone comes out, which is never a good sign. There's people out there who I'm sure will comment. Got some questions for you from our viewers. We'll just get the first one up. Is AJ going to have to brawl to win? This is from subscribe to audiobook something. It's just a screenshot. I can't see the full handle. Is AJ going to have to brawl to win? And if he does, will he have the cardio to do it for 12 rounds?
Boy, that's a very good question in terms of cardio. I'm sure they've looked at this, and I'm sure he knows that, you know, how he finished that round at 12 is not how he wants to start 13, 14 going forward. So it's an interesting one. I don't really have the answers. As we've seen in his career, he's always has this issue because he's quite muscular. So once the oxygen gets into there and it starts to see it goes super left. But when he does get people hurt, he normally closes the show. So it's going to be interesting. I don't have the answer to that, but I feel that is one of his weaknesses, what lets him down, because of, and people know that. They normally, Usyk, I feel, is going to want to try and drown him and kind of bring it into deep waters and drown him and test that cardio.
Now we've got the usual 3 questions from Andy Whyte. He says, first of all, how are you getting on with John Fury these days?
Yeah, do you know what's funny? Everybody, everywhere I go, they say, what's happening with that fucking John? He's a nutter. I said, I don't know, I haven't seen him. We ended on good terms after the fight, obviously, shook hands and spoke. He seemed okay, but...
You should join him for a barbecue, or whatever it is he does out there in the woods.
Right, man, I'm hearing he's still quite angry and volatile, not just to me, to the people who are around. There was a scenario the other day where he attended someone threw his top off. I said, I'm a fighting man, I'll fight anyone, anywhere. And picked it up and walked off. So I don't know, I don't want to go to anywhere where he is.
Andy also asked, why didn't you become a professional boxer?
I suppose time, really. I started even MMA kickboxing late. And I did kind of think of it. And then Dill was like, listen, motherfucker, don't go out there and get beat up. Then I got to be like Klitschko and come and avenge that loss. You know what I mean? It wouldn't look good for us.
Did that cause a fight? What are you saying? I'm going to get beaten up?
Yeah. No, I don't think we did. But do you know what it is? I left it quite late. I kind of thought about it. When I did, it was when I was like 35, 36. So it's kind of, it's kind of, even now, somewhat, I still feel like, I'd like to do something exhibition maybe, but it's the training aspect, what you were saying, me cutting out everything, living that boxer lifestyle. I just don't have the time or energy. Cutting out drinking, doing
Put
this.
yourself on your own card.
Exactly. That's what I've noticed. It's actually definitely in my brain. Maybe doing that one day, but we'll have a look at it, man. But yeah, it's hard. I don't have the passion as these people do, and it's like I said, what I was saying earlier. It's the hurt business. So you don't want to go in there half shooting and get yourself hurt messing around pretending boxing.
And finally, from Andy, he wanted to ask or get you to retell the story of your heroics on the plane.
Oh, Saudi.
He drew attention to Adam Smith's reaction when you told him the story. He was just stunned, wasn't he?
Oh, yes, that was Saudi. That was 2019 December. Yeah, some guy, I don't know what that guy was doing. They said he had a panic attack and wanted to get off the plane. Maybe not knowing that we was, maybe how much was it, 20,000 feet in the air? I don't know how, it was just ridiculous. But they came to me and they was like, oh, someone's, they need your assistance, someone's trying to.
So they came to you?
Yeah, I think it was either passengers or someone was like, I think the attendants, like, I looked down and I was like, huh? But it was like the guy fighting them and I get off now.
It's like, he can sort this out for us.
Yeah, kind of thing, innit? So I had to go down there and just give him a little pull a tug and a shove like Carl Front says.
Pushing the pull, yeah.
Yeah, so it's quite funny. Still, everyone talks about it all the time though, like when I see people, oh, what, they're playing. But yeah, that was, I wanted to kind of probably do a lot more, to be honest, because I don't like planes the best of times. Don't fucking touch the door.
Yeah,
I'm not interested. Like, do whatever you want on the ground, in the airport, but not in the air messing around and stuff. But it was a viral moment, which has been good.
We've got a bit more of a light-hearted one here from PSN Coins 1. And I'm going to try and read it as it's intended, but you'll have to forgive me if I don't get it
don't
quite
think
right.
you should.
Oh, no, come on, it's funny. It is funny.
Is it?
Ish. Don't hit me, Dean, I didn't write it. Ask him if he threatened Tyrone Booth's life when he took him to South London and showed him around the places where you used to do things in your younger days.
I don't know. What do
you make of Tyrone Booth?
Hey, my brother, he's a cool cat still.
He's hilarious.
He's he's quite mad. He's cool. Me and him talk all the time. He wants to come back to fighting.
Yeah.
He wants to have an exhibition, but we'll see.
Oh, what with you?
Not with me. He's too small. He's too small, but he wants to have an exhibition and come back and fight someone. So I don't know, but yeah, no, where he actually stays is in the Manor. He actually stays across from my barber's I used to go, and there's an estate behind there. To be honest, all the estates are very dangerous and deadly around there. You know what I mean? So, but yeah, took him around. But he's a good kid. You know, like listen, it's dangerous out there. I promise you. But you gotta know how to move. I guess I try and just be on the edges of everything, so I'm not too close. But it doesn't matter where you are. Someone got killed right around the corner. Old man, 87. Did you see that?
Yeah.
Greenford.
Yeah, he was on a mobility scooter.
Yeah, he got stabbed. So it could be any age or any place, anytime. So things happen. It's just the world we live in, unfortunately. So.
Well, if you think those questions were tough, you've still got the hot seat to come, and we'll be back with that just after this.
I am fully fledged hustler, entrepreneur. I'm not messing about. I call the shots.
The worst people in the world. Are you ready?
Shoot.
So people who drop their gum shield and put it back in their mouths without rinsing it.
Nasty.
Or people that don't wash their wraps.
The gum shield, man. Now you putting that in your mouth. That's disgusting.
People who cheat workouts and don't give it 100%, or people who spar to injure.
They're just as bad as each other, but I don't like the half-cut kids. We just spoke about that, actually. Yeah.
People who don't put their weights away in the gym, or people who are on the phone the whole gym session.
The people that's on the phone.
People who miss the spit bucket in the gym and end up just spitting on the floor, or people who kiss their dog on the mouth.
Oh, yeah, that kissing dog shit is disgusting. That's some weird shit. That's like fetish.
People who eat with their mouths open, or people who cough and sneeze on you on public transport.
Oh, yeah, them sneezing people. I'm not interested in them. That is nasty again. That's a negative.
People who don't use deodorant and hold their arms up next to you on the tube. You know them ones where it's really busy?
That is rude.
Or people that flame it in the sink and don't wash it away.
Ooh.
A proper gauzy one as well.
Yeah, that is disgusting. But them BO people there, they got shame. Put their arm in. Shame. It's true, that's nasty, man. They'll make you sick as well. But they're both nasty. It's a draw.
People who complain it's too hot during summer, or the people who complain about the people complaining that it's too hot?
I think both of them as well. That's funny. Everyone does it though.
And if you could change one thing about the sport of boxing, what would it be?
I think a bit more equality in the sport in terms of women, more people from different demographics, you know. I think that's what I'm trying to do anyway, but I think I'd like to see a bit more open.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Dean Whyte, thank you very much.
Thanks very much.
You can go home now.
Listen, I'm out of here because
he's running out so quickly.
That feminist sink is mad. I'm a fully fledged hustler, entrepreneur. I'm not messing about. I call the shots.
Wow, I mean, that was hotter than the average, I've got to say. Want to thank you all.
What?
What's wrong with that? It's like Craig David, slicker than the average, you know. It's just little homage.
Yeah, okay.
Little homage to Craig David. Craig David. Bit of bass selector. Anyway, for people that are under the age of 30, you might not have got any of that. Really appreciate you all for tuning in. We'll be back soon with episode 13. Unlucky, hopefully not for us. Thanks to Georgia Banks, as always.
Thanks for having me.
And to a great guest in Dean Whyte.
Thanks for having me, guys. It's been excellent.
It's been a pleasure.
Thank you. Yo, Danny Flexen here. Think you know shit about boxing? There's only one way to find out. Listen to the full podcast via one of the links in the description or go to secondsoutboxing.podbean.com.
Do you know shit about boxing?